picture of me with the dog in my lap. And also to differentiate this broadcast with the dog in my lap and this shirt, since I did this morning, I changed the color of the little banner to a purplish, pinkish, reddish something or other, so as to differentiate it from the blue that I've been using in all the other ones. Good evening, everyone. I'm Bob Doyle. This, of course, is Sophie. And it's Sunday night. And then what? It's the time of the week where we review our weekend and do a little prognostication towards the rest of the week. Now, I know I'm saying that like we do it every week, and I've never done it, and I may never do it again. Let's see who's jumped in. We've got Daryl. Hello, Daryl. Good evening. And Jane is here as well. Jane and Daryl and Restream.io, who's just letting everyone know that the chat is ready to display. And Jane and Daryl have taken advantage of that, and that makes me so happy. Still haven't changed the time display. It's still saying in the 20 hour instead of whatever time it actually is here, 8 something. Yeah, Sophie is, look, this is just the day. This is just what we do. This is a life in the big city of Las Vegas. So the other day, I put forth a challenge sitting in this very chair, and I said to you to take on something this weekend that you would talk about. Where you would, when someone asked you about this weekend, you'd go, oh yeah, hi Amy, I did the hello Richard. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm telling you, the talent, what am I looking for? The something, that's it. The something, the special something, the je ne sais quoi, the I don't know what, that this show attracts never ceases to amaze me. Does it never cease to amaze you too? And of course, I think I have some of those regular viewers, and I'm not talking about your diet. That's disgusting. But you know, there's just some of you I can always count on that special. And I've always promised that when the Bob Doyle Show, whatever that looks like, when it's a thing, that we will always remember those of you who have been with us from the beginning. Thank you, Richard. Well, this dog has been making a lot of appearances lately because she won't leave. Will you? I talk to her like that to be funny for the video, but I don't know, maybe she's getting her feelings hurt. Nah, she's got to know. Hi, Sharon. Now, when someone says you're special, that can mean so many things, can't it, ladies and gentlemen? Shall we go back to the relaxation and the perspective that space gives us, ladies and gentlemen? Let's just take a look at this image for a second and contemplate its meaning, its implications, if you will. It shows us what I'm assuming to be a representation of the planet we live on, that planet being Earth, in case you had lost track. And as you look at that giant sphere floating in the sky like that, or it's not really the sky, is it? The sky is kind of inside that sphere in our atmosphere. Out there's just space. So as you see it floating there in space, whirling around 19,000 miles per hour at 10,000 miles in an outer spiral arm, and you think about how small each of us is. You can't even see us on this picture. No artist would dare represent us in a painting of this size because there would be no way to, and there are 8 billion of us crawling all over that planet wearing masks and whatnot, or not. But that planet, if you zoom out, you zoom out, you zoom out, you really start to get some perspective that planet becomes something that if an artist were looking at, like if you look way back in the distance of that picture, there are other planets that the artist didn't even bother to try to paint. Because guess what? You can't. Now, maybe I'm assuming this is a painting for us. Because they're too small. Do you understand my point? Your biggest problem. Your biggest problem. Now, am I saying that to make you feel insignificant? No, of course not. Because our size, of course, our physical size is just, well, it's just an illusion, my friends. It's an illusion. We've constructed this whole with our 5 senses, which is just a series of electrical impulses. It's very shaky ground, folks. But our consciousness. A lot of power there. Wouldn't you agree, Richard? If anybody in this room agrees, it should be Richard. Of course, he may have left now because I'm only showing the top part of the dog and not this part. Let's take another good close-up look at Sophie. If you hold the angle just right, you don't really notice the dark weepy stuff. Look how tolerant she's being. I did not sign a release, and I don't sound like that. Anyway, that's not what I didn't mean to get into any of that existential stuff. Terry, how are you? Now I want to say I'm going to speak for Tracy on this one, and this is going to say a lot about Tracy and my relationship. And I want to, Richard's there. That I think that, now I don't know that she saw your post today, Terry. The post was of a picture of a black dress. You know what I'm talking about. And I don't know. I need this. Something like this was your post. Or this needs to, something. Do you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying. And I thought to myself as I saw it, I thought, you know what? Yes. And I know that Tracy would agree. Because that just, I think you're right. I think you saw that and said, but that's, yep. And we feel like we've got enough of a line on you, Terry, that we can say with confidence, oh yes, you need that dress. Well, Terry, you know, I don't want to make it too stinking obvious, but, oh, well, that's true. We haven't been around. But I've been messing around here in the mornings and in the evenings. Just mostly because I like, well, how come sorry. I like it when the light rotates. Is it doing it now? Green. There we go. Sorry about that. I just, I have a very particular way of being. So I got way off track. The whole idea of the beginning of my conversation here was, did you in fact do something this weekend that you will talk about for the rest of your life? I'm not sure I did, even though that was my assignment. And realizing that today gave me another level of resolve for next week. I have very specific goals in my life, my friends. I do. I have very specific goals. I'm not going to burden you with them. But I have very specific goals. I'm probably more goal-driven right now than I've been in quite some time. And here's the thing. I know exactly what I need to do to achieve those goals. It's not like, oh, how am I going to do it? I know exactly what to do. So, what I've decided to make up for the fact that I didn't do something this weekend that I'm going to tell all my friends and family about for the rest of my life. Ooh, Richard did do something that he can tell about my life. 25 words or less, Richard. Put it up there. It won't fit, Sharon said, thank you for making me see it. Ooh, I don't know exactly what she's referring to. Anyway, I am setting audacious goals for myself next week, my friends. And those of you who know me for a while know that I'm not that big of a goal person. I normally don't set what most people refer to as goals. I have a vision. This is a goal because what makes it a goal instead of a vision is I'm kind of putting an unattached timeline to this particular goal. I'm going to push myself outside of my comfort zone to create a new comfort zone. And in doing so, reaching the goals that I'm setting for this week, which are, by some standards, audacious goals. Some who do what I'll be doing, if I reach this goal, will say, wow, how did you do that? And you know what I'll say? I made the commitment. And I told people I was going to do it. And in fact, when I do this, I'm a part of a team that I'm going to be doing, that I'm part of. I'm going to be doing this basically publicly. I'm going to say to the team, I'm doing this, and I'm going to stream live to them. It's not for the general public. Me doing some of it. That's accountability, my friends. I'm not saying it's for everybody, but it does work for me. And I've realized, as of late, that I have not had any accountability from anyone. Not enough. And I realize that there's two main people that the accountability means anything. First and foremost, me. Second, you. You said there's two people. That's right. Me and you. That's two. If I go and if I tell the world I'm going to take on this goal, oh, I cannot deal with not doing it. It's going to be hard. So I opt to, I know what I need to do in order to probably reach that goal. So I'm going to take that action. What I'm not attached to is reaching the goal. Huh? Can anybody make sense of that? I have the goal. I'm committed to the goal. I'm not attached to achieving it. Because here's what I know. In taking the action to achieve that goal, amazing things are going to occur that may or may not have anything to do with that goal. Dawn, what's up? Dawn, look, everyone needs to know that Dawn recently got an Oculus Quest, the VR headset. Someone of my general age range has gotten a VR device. So it's me, Dawn, and Steve G. Jones. And so, Dawn got in there, we did our friend request thing, and now I'm just like, she's never on. Like, I'm on there, I'm going, okay, let's see if Dawn's on, we can go try something. Nope. Like, I don't know have you learned to sideload yet, Dawn? Because there's a whole world of other programs. There's just stuff you got to do. Terry is getting me, ladies and gentlemen. She's feeling me. That's how I knew about the dress, you see. Am I being too squirmy for you? I feel like I'm not giving her the attention that I have been giving. Oh, right. Okay. That would be... So, of course, Dawn. Dawn's son back from Korea after an extended time away. What, she gonna say, hey, good to see you, now let me hide in this headset so I can go hang out in a virtual room with Bob Doyle somewhere for one of his tests. Sorry, Dawn, I wasn't thinking. I was only thinking about myself. Oh. But you know what? I'm owning it. I don't know why that's good, but I'm owning it. Let's go back to space for a second. Contemplate the bigness. All of that possibility, ladies and gentlemen. Stuff we can't even imagine is going on one of those dots that's in that space. Stuff we can't even. And what are we doing? Like, if we had that telescope, we could see another planet out there that, let's face it, it's out there, inhabiting life. Are they doing the same freaking nonsense we are? I mean, did they get so far off track, or did some, come on. It's pretty goofy down here. It's pretty goofy. And all this potential as a species, which we're demonstrating each and every day. And yet, we just can't get it together, can we? Just can't all get along. So what happened if, another planet invades? What are we going to do? It's got to be like Independence Day. Do you think another planet's going to invade? Do you think that all the other planets are just have this mentality of invasion and taking over and control just because we as humans adopted this somehow? Does that mean that every species, everywhere, every civilization has wars and all of this nonsense? Power struggles? Or are they more plugged in and go, what are we fighting about exactly? We've got life and the ability to create whatever life we would like. What are we arguing about exactly? But boy, did we find things, didn't we? And we continue to find things. I mean, it's getting absurd what we're finding things to argue about now. Like, really absurd. I listen to a lot of podcasts. I was listening to a podcast from 2018, and it was like their beginning of the year episode, and they're all saying Happy New Year, and they're talking about 2018, and I'm going, wow, you guys have just no freaking idea what insanity awaits just 2 years from now. They're talking about whatever. Oh, we're going to make this a good year. Whatever. 2020's coming, you guys. Dawn says the other planets are eating popcorn, watching us. We're freaks of nature. Or we're on a what do they call those slides in, microscope slide? Is it just a slide? And they're looking at us under a microscope going, what happened here? Or, we're a simulation, which makes way more sense. Guys, I'm gonna tell you this. I don't know if it's gonna land with the gravity that I feel that it deserves. But, Tracy and I notice a lot of synchronicities and things like that are just like, what? We were just like impossible things. And I'm sure you guys know what I'm talking about. But to me, they've been escalating, like insanely. Now, today one happened that was just so impossible that I still don't know what to make of it. And I know that when you hear this, there are going to be some people who with brains is like, oh, well, you must have heard a thing and made a connection and it's subconscious. I get that line of thinking, and I assure you, and hopefully if I tell the story correctly, you will see that there is no way that there was that line, that it couldn't have happened in any subconscious way. Are we ready? No, Dawn, I don't remember what you feel about the simulation thing. Sorry. But to me, it's obvious. Okay, so on Facebook today, I'm scrolling down the timeline, and there I see a picture of the cast of Princess Bride. They're doing a reunion for a virtual table read. Right? That means all the actors in the film are going to get together around a table, and they're going to reenact Princess Bride reading it out loud, reading the script. Which, oh my God, right? Well, Dawn, I'm sorry you don't like it. So I'm looking at the picture, and of course the first thing that pops into my mind, besides, wow, this is really cool, and I'm looking for everybody and trying to recognize everybody's face, and then of course I realized Andre the Giant is not among them because he is no longer with us. So it was like all my attention went from Princess Bride and how much I liked it to, oh yeah, Andre the Giant. Right? And just like, so I just want you to see the arc. Now, I did leave out one piece that I should have said. I was listening to a podcast from 2012 earlier today. And I turn my podcast on and off all day if I'm doing the dishes, I'll, whatever. It's on and off, pause, unpause, whatever. So I had it paused for an hour or whatever. Then I come in and see the thing on Facebook about Princess Bride and think Andre the Giant. Now, I'm sitting there looking at the picture, noticing the silence of the room, and so I hit play, resume on my podcast. And they're talking for about 30 seconds. And one person says, would you like me to do this? And the other person says, as you wish. And then the first person says, oh, Princess Bride, one of my favorite movies. And then, what's your favorite part? So now, right at that point, I'm already like, what? Now there's no relation to the podcast I'm listening to and what shows up on my Facebook timeline. Can we agree? There's no correlation. I'm listening to a podcast from 2012, and I come in here, I turn on my timeline, and it's showing about the reunion. Okay, so then they start talking about Princess Bride. Even right there, I think that. But then he says, it doesn't matter the voices, right? The one voice says, what was your favorite part about that movie? The other guy says, the acting performance of Andre the Giant, and then they went down a whole conversation about Andre the Giant. That's when I hit pause and made a video for Tracy immediately and said, what is real? So, that was, to me, that's like, and those types of things are happening a lot. We were just talking about this as in and a lot of it is like podcast stuff. Like Tracy and I will be talking about, there's one I really want to tell you. It's so good, but I just can't. I would love to, but it's a perfect example, just like this one. There was a setup, there was something that was going on in my day, and every time this particular thing happens, I think of a certain thing. And as I'm doing this, thinking of this certain thing, on the podcast, same podcast, by the way, I listen to it a lot, they start talking about that certain thing. Totally unrelated. This thing I was doing was planned days in advance. Day in advance. Had nothing to do, there's no way I could have queued up a podcast to start talking about the thing as I'm setting up. Anyway. And that was just a week ago or whatever. So these types of things, I see them happening more and more and more. And look, I know about the reticular activating system and all that stuff. Don't start with me on that. I know, but I'm looking at these particular things where there is no, that doesn't apply. I hope you can see that. Like, I get the whole, I was just talking about Mercedes, and look, there's one. I get that. I don't know what I'm talking about. And all the intelligence making that happen is what's making this happen out there. It's all really, when we zoom in on our stuff, it's pretty dark, and then we just zoom out and we go, oh my God, look at this. I think that's one of the things I like about in VR, traveling around in space and getting the bigness and getting some perspective. But again, the size, the smallness is an illusion. Our consciousness is all over the place. Infinite and connected. And yet somehow that energy is contained into these vessels, giving us the illusion of individuality. These five senses, the ability to make meaning, our imagination, passion, a sense of purpose, all energy. Amazing. How did this get done? And what are we doing with it? The things we have to take for granted to be doing what we're doing right now on this planet. The things, the miracles we have to ignore and make insignificant. To make all the stuff that we're doing to mess things up that important. Who's with me? Thank you, Walter. I do love doing those. I do love doing them. I'm just waiting for the software to stabilize a little bit. Like grains of sand on the beach, that's right, Jane. But again, the grains of sand, well, I was going to make a statement that I have no business saying. I was going to say the grains of sand don't have consciousness, but what do I know? They are consciousness. We're all connected. It's all consciousness. And again, each grain of sand is just our senses interpreting energy. For whatever reason, our brain makes whatever that little cluster is, this little grain of sand, and insignificant. Meanwhile, this ocean filled with, I keep thinking I'm seeing someone out of the corner of my eye. I'm not, unless it's Pulte. But I hope that's not the case. I'm not going to make it mean anything that she keeps staring at the door. Now wait, Jane typed 1. Did I say type 1 for yes or 2 for no again? Or is she saying we are one? And we're getting all spiritual up in here. Because, anyway, it's Sunday night, and then what? So next week, to make up for the fact that I really didn't make this weekend memorable, except perhaps, well, it's not exactly true. Do you know what I will remember about this weekend? Doing these lives, these morning and evening check-ins, just here in the room, in the studio, with the lights and the dog. This has been This has been a very nice way to start and end each day. Just hanging out with whoever's out there. And if I continue to do this, I will always remember this weekend as the weekend that I did it first. So you know what? I retract my statement, but it doesn't take away from the fact that I have those goals, those audacious goals for next week, for which I'm going to make myself irreversibly accountable. Which is would you please stop looking at the door? You're making me nervous. Earlier today, she was earlier like an hour ago, my kitchen, the garage door is attached to the kitchen, and she's sitting there looking at the garage door barking. I open the garage door, there's nobody there, the garage door is closed, it's empty. Close it up again. 5 seconds later, she's not a barky dog, but today she decides she's going to bark at the empty garage door. And now she's looking over here repeatedly at the entrance to this door where I keep seeing something out of the corner of my eye. Do you know what's happening, of course? I'm talking about the simulation, and somebody somewhere doesn't like it. So they just got somebody, just in case. See, Dawn is clearly part of the simulation to cast doubt, to be a voice of reason. Oh, the simulation. Come on, I don't like that. No reasonable person would believe that we're a simulation. So that comment had to be made to balance out. You know what I'm saying? You are great as you are, and so is everyone else, says Sylvia. Sylvia, thank you for Dr. Sol Fernandez. Sylvia, this is like Dr. Sol Fernandez? Is that what's happening? Thank you, Walter. It's very nice of you to say. I love being checked in with by the likes of you and yours. So we'll see. We see if we got another week with. Here's what I'll say. Hopefully, this time next week, I'll be telling you how I did reach the goal. Not just went through the win. I want to be clear. The win is going through the action that I know I need to take in order to reach that audacious goal. If I don't reach it, it is still a win. And there will have been a million things that happen great as a result of doing that, even if the result wasn't the goal. The goal is the driver that makes everything happen, much like our vision. That's what I keep trying to tell people. Okay. Dawn said she's clarifying. Not saying it's not a simulation, she just doesn't like it. So you know what? That's a conversation in and of itself. And I know I brought it up, probably. But let's say we are. Let's say we get a memo. Like everybody gets some digital email from, the programmers. Yeah, it's a simulation. Well, now what? And it's kind of like all these people who want to be right about everything, all the conspiracies and whatever they are. It's like, okay, so what if you're right? Now what are you going to do about it? Seriously. You're going to post on Facebook? Yes, I know. But then what? No, you don't know what my audacious goal is because I'm not going to bring that into this conversation. But it is business related. I'll say that. So it's a business related audacious goal which will require me to take, like I said earlier, in the eyes of some, massive action. Now I know that my daily goal, I'm breaking my day into goals in the day, is something that I could do actually more of. Like, I'm going to do a certain amount, but I know I could do more. But I still think it's enough to reach the goal. But by the end of day 2, I'm going to have a strong sense of whether or not this is working and whether or not I need to up it. But like I said, it's very rare that I have those types of goals, but I'll tell you why. You want how deep into my head do you want to get right now? This is I think this is an entrepreneur mindset. Here's why I'm setting this goal, as opposed to in the past. What I'm doing now, and I'm not going to get into it, but what I'm doing now, there are specific steps to take that will pretty much ensure a specific result. There's some ups and downs, but if I continue to do the steps, I'm going to reach the goal. Now, in every other aspect of my career in the past 20 years, it's a crapshoot. Will this program sell? Will people want this? These days, after Law of Attraction, is it still relevant? Coaching, will they buy? You know, it's just there's so many. COVID. So there's so many like this. So I was always hesitant to set a goal because there's so much that I don't have any control over. So instead, I just held the vision and didn't attach to any specific goal. But now what I'm doing has specific action. It's different. It's way more tangible. It's like, if I do this, this will occur. That's cool to me. It's like, wow, that's kind of nice to have after 20 years of not that. So that means that there's specific things that I don't feel like it's a gamble. I mean, there's a certain amount of gamble, but nothing like I've been doing. So the idea of this, and I know from experience of doing it so far, what happens as I take these action steps, even if it doesn't result in the specific goal. So all I'm doing is taking what I was already doing and multiplying it into an audacious, so I'll just be doing what I'm doing at not, I wouldn't say exponential level, but let's say 4 or 5 times level every day. And we're going to see what happens. Jane, you're so right. Well, let me have a caveat. I do, to the extent that I am able to move around, I do have control over the action I take. I don't have control over what occurs as a result of the action that I take, but I do know that I am in control of the action, of taking the action or not. And I know that the odds are, knowing what I'm going to be doing, that the odds are way in my favor that I will get a desired result. Every time, no. And I can't control any of it. All I can do is show up and do the best I can every single time. And then, yes, completely detach from the result. Because that's where suffering comes from, my friends, is attaching to the result. If you can find the joy in the doing of the thing, find the value in just the doing and in the journey. Like setting this goal for me is a fun thing to do. It makes my brain happy. Yes, goals, I like them in this context because I know that all it's going to take is me taking action, not luck, not, yes, there's some, but I know that the odds are in my favor. No, I'm not taking over for Matt Lau. Why would you use him as an example? Thank you, Terry, for validating my statement. So anyway, I am making a decision that this coming week is going to be a pivotal week because I'm going to show myself that upping my efforts 5 times results in 5 times the results. Or more. Probably more. Actually, definitely more. Just because of the nature of what I'm doing. It does have the ability to exponentially, like in ways that are beyond what I do. Beyond the action that I take. And you just never know when that's going to occur. The dog's getting it. So who's with me on setting an audacious goal for the week? Who's with me? Audacious goal for the week. Jane, that includes you. It could be a certain number of blog posts or something. I don't know. Walter, Don, Audacious goals? Terry? Getting that dress? I don't know. That's not really what I'm talking about. Getting the dress. You have a goal to go spend money. That's not exactly. Or it could just come to you. So I hope to report back next week that I reached my goal, but certainly that I took the required action. And there's a minimum amount of things I have to do that's very quantifiable. Like it's spreadsheet quantifiable. Like a certain number of lines on a spreadsheet have to be filled out before I can call it a day. And like I said, I'm capable of fitting way more than the number I have in my head on that spreadsheet per day. But I'm starting with that number. Could I be more vague? Sure. Get your drain unclogged. You know what, Jane? If that's been one of those low burn things, like if it then get it done. I hope that's not the case, but I know I've had times in my life when the drain is slow and I just I gotta go get some of that stuff. Oh, I gotta get some of that stuff. I got it for like a month, and then finally you get some of that stuff and you pour it down and go, why didn't I do this a month ago? How many of those slow burn things do we have in our lives? Those little annoying things that, all I had to do was change the washer, and I've been sleepless for a month and a half listening to that drip. It took me 30 seconds to fix. That's hypothetical. I haven't had to do that in a long time. Maybe never. That may be TV I'm thinking of. Seems like a TV thing. Let's go back to space for a moment just to soak it in. While I'm waiting for your audacious goals. Got the 1 second plumber? Is that a product? Now, I'm waiting for someone to make an audacious goal. You don't have to. It's totally optional. Just because I am doesn't mean you have to do it. And I don't need you to do it just for me to do it. I was going to do it anyway. I'm just inviting you to meet me back here in a week and tell me all about the audacious goals you achieved, accomplished, that did. But here's the thing. I will say this about my particular audacious goal, and it is, and the more I talk about it, the more I'm going, ugh. But if I reach it, and I learn that I am in fact capable of doing that, I can't unknow that. And so going back, doing any less than that is going to be difficult for me. You know what I mean? Because the wiring will be adjusted to this new level. So why would I go back and take less of what I'm working for when I know now that I've done this? So then it's like, well, now do I make it even more audacious? Don's got a project at work. Thanks, Walter. I'm enjoying it. But of course, I've been doing it mostly because Tracy isn't here. But she says she's been wanting to go morning, live every day. It's a lot easier for me to go live spontaneously. Sure, some of the ladies know what I'm talking about. The line that Tracy uses, and she uses it publicly, so it's not like a secret, but it's like, okay, I got to get cute. And of course, I know, you know, we all know she's as cute, she's just cute all the time. But you know what she means, right? Gotta brush the hair, maybe a little curl, do that lip thing she does. I get it. But like when I do this, it's spontaneous. It's like, and it's no certain time. It's just like, it's evening and I feel like doing it. Because now this setup takes no time to load and it's just very easy on the CPU. It's like uses 20% CPU. It's just easy. And frankly, I like the way it looks. Set an audacious goal to restart your podcast. All right, Terry, what are 3 action steps you need to do in order to start your podcast again? What are 3 action steps you need to do? Right, have to put your face on. That's very TV. Once known, said, seen, heard, and can never be undone. I totally ow what she means. Yeah, I ow what she means too. I think we all ow what she means. I think it's so obvious that even Sophie ows what she means. Oh well, now Terry's backpedaling for some reason. I'm almost out of water, and I think that means I'm going to end the show. All right, so some of us have got some audacious goals. I do, and now I've contemplated the implications of meeting those goals. And if I do, honestly, it's a game changer. So make an audacious goal that has similar implications. But again, know that once you reach that, it's going to be harder to go back. So if you're committed to just keeping things how they are, okay, hold on. We've got action steps from Terry right here. Create loose script, record, and upload. Now, basically, this is just what I did. I just did a podcast. I have thought about, could this be a podcast? But it's visual. If video podcasts were more common, that's what I would have. That would just be, but I don't stick to audio only podcasts because I don't know. I've moved too far into the visual now. Like before I was audio only, I was a radio guy and I felt like, okay, I can hold this, and I used to, but now it's just not as fun for me just to turn on a microphone and talk at nothing. I like this, if you couldn't tell. All right, so Terry, you're going to create a loose script. Do you have a topic? Do you have your first topic? And how long does it take you to create a loose script? Does that mean like give yourself some bullet points so you know what to talk about? Does it have a formatted time? Does it have to be any particular time? Or is it literally just as easy as clicking record and uploading with some bullet points? And if that's the case, how many podcasts could you create this week? 1, I'm not calling that audacious. Sorry. How about 3? You know you can do it. You can do it. You've got the topics, you've got the subject matter. Seriously, it's like sitting down and saying, and if your podcast, I don't know how long your podcasts are. Let's say they're 15 minutes. I don't know what they are, but let's say they're 15 minutes. You can knock out 3 in like an hour. Stream of consciousness. Do you edit? What about music? Do you do that? Anyway, point is, you get these things knocked out and you'll be like, you can probably record a whole season in a week. Get them all scheduled and you're done. Like 20 of them. And you're done. You don't have to worry about it. Just schedule it and boom. 4 episodes. All right, 4 episodes. That's it. You saw it right here. That's audacious. 4 episodes. Now, Terry, what's going to come up for you? What is going to come up for you first? Because now it seems easy, right? Because I showed you. Of course it's easy. The truth is, and here's what you can't forget, and everybody here has to hold you accountable for this. The truth is, for you, this is easy. This is easy and you know it. So what is it that's going to come up that's going to stop you? What is a potential area of resistance which is going to make you go, not right now. I'm not right into it right now. Now I just got to be more in the vibe, because that's my thing. That's my thing. I feel like I got to be in the mood for it. Guess what? You'll get in the mood for it the second you start. That's me. I will put off a thing, start the thing, and then I'm in it. But the wiring is up. So now I'm projecting a lot on you, Terry. I'm projecting all of my stuff on you. Just as an example, to be an example for the group. Because you've stepped up out of the audience and said, I volunteer to sit in a hot seat and be an example of taking on an audacious goal. If we were in a live group, she would have raised her hand, she would have walked up on the stage, she'd be sitting in a chair, you guys would have applauded and stuff, and I'd be walking, there would be this banter with the microphone, and then her microphone wouldn't work for some reason, and they'd fix it in the back. Meanwhile, they were using, you got it, you've been to events before. Okay, resistance will come up because I think of everything else I should do also. Great. So before you even end the day, you resolve all that. Like, what are the things that you think you should do? And here's what I do. You just schedule it. Let's say you got all the things you know you need to do to make tomorrow awesome. Let's say it's 7 things. Just freaking schedule it. From this time to the end, be really conservative. so that you can see that you will get it all done and allow time to record these things. So you don't think about what you should be doing. You already have done the day in your head and everything's gotten done ahead of time and you know it'll work because you were conservative. This is an easy one. Just schedule it. And you have to stick to the schedule. That's the thing. So, but here's the good news. We're having this conversation, so you'll be on full alert. The moment you start to rationalize not doing it, all of the alarms will go off and you will hear nothing but my voice, nothing but my voice, nothing but my voice, nothing but my voice, nothing but my voice. Now you're going to hear that and oh, you're going to be irritated. But here's the secret to making that stop. That stop, nothing but my voice, nothing but my voice. That will stop the minute you start recording your podcast. You're welcome. And I didn't even charge you for that. That is like massive top level coaching. Okay. All right, well, look, we've changed Terry's life, and I hope all of yours, because you put yourself in Terry's position and, you went through the exercise, like all the people in the audience who weren't up on the stage. There you go, nothing but my voice, nothing but my voice. You know what I'm going to do? Tomorrow, like at 2 p.m. Pacific, if I can remember, I'm going to send Terry a voice message on Facebook of me just going, nothing but my voice, nothing but my voice. Now, the only way that'll be awesome for her is if she's already done it. So if like by 2 p.m. tomorrow she's already done this, when she hears nothing but my voice, it won't be a stress, it'll be a celebration. Yes! But if she hasn't done it and she hears nothing but my voice, it's going to be like, oh, okay. Because he's going to do it tomorrow too. That's what accountability for friends is, my friends. I don't want to say friends in the same sentence twice, but can we really say friends too much? Maybe that's the problem with the world, is we don't. Or maybe it's lost its meaning because of Facebook. 5,000 friends. Not one of them would help me move. That's the true test, No, it's not. Some people just can't do that. Look, if you ask me to help you move and I refuse, it's not because I'm not your friend. It's because I'm 55 and I'm done doing that. Okay? I did my time. Well, I'm 63. I move my friends all the time. Okay, all right, fine. Guess what? I'm not you. All right. I didn't need to have that attitude with you, sir. Imaginary sir. I apologize. Okay, well, my phone is about to die, which has nothing to do with this broadcast whatsoever. It just happens to be sitting here making the lights change color. And I guess I could just lean over and get this cord and plug it in, which I just did. But I still think I'm going to end this broadcast because, well, I don't know. Because if I don't, I'll just keep doing it. It's like there's such a thing as overstaying your welcome. And I'm really good at it when it comes to live broadcasts. Now I know you guys can just walk out of this. If you were at an event and I had Terry on stage and you just suddenly got bored, that's harsh. You can just walk out on me. I mean, I have to be really, really boring, and you'd really have to say, I don't even care how rude this is. This guy is putting me to sleep. Well, that's the equivalent of just clicking off this broadcast whenever you freaking want to without saying, look, I got to go, or excuse me, I got to go to the bathroom, or I'll be right back. That is an ovation, but yes, it is an ovation 6-string behind me. It looks like Walter here might have done some voice-to-speech dictation. Is that in ovation 6-string behind you? But because it is an ovation, I knew I cracked the code. Yes, I have an ovation 6-string and I have an ovation 12-string as well. And I will say that the ovation 12-string was a high school wish. I wanted that so bad, and I got a 12-string, an Epiphone 12-string while I was in high school, but it was not until I was an adult that I finally got my ovation 12-string, which is in the other room, hanging on. It's not hanging. It is. Is it hanging? No. It's in one of those things. I should bring it in here. The reason I don't bring more in here is people are going to start saying, play something. And I'm like, I haven't played the guitar in a zillion years. It's just, they're just easier to see than ukuleles. Okay. Can you feel the energy coming off my hands? Did you feel it? Let's do it again. Now, I want you to tune into it. See if you can feel it. Now look at your screen. Ready? Here we go. Well, I felt it. A 1986 collector's 12-string, but sold it. Well, I hope you got good money for it, Walter. I hope you got good money for it. And that you spent it on something that gave you more back in value than that 1986 collector's 12-string. That it was somehow a seed that has grown into a tree that protects you, perhaps feeds you, oxygenates your world. That's the story I'm going to tell myself. So that I don't... Look, I sold all my Star Wars toys one day in my front yard for no good reason. What did I want to... Oh! Actually, these stories are connected. So hold on. Hold the phone. I know. I'm terrible at saying goodbye. Can't believe this is coming up. I was a Star Wars... I was one of those people. This was before people started dressing up in costumes and going to store. This was it was an innocent kids thing. 7th, 8th, 9th grade. You know, Star Wars, Empire, Return of the Jedi. Those guys. I had a lot of the toys. For a while I had all of them, but then it became impossible. But anyway, I had really, really cool stuff. Big Millennium Falcons, TIE Fighters, X-Wing Fighters, all those action figures, the big ones, the small ones, the guns, the laser rifles, the games. It was just, I had it. But I played with them. I did animated movies and stuff. Does that surprise anyone? Stop motion animation. Somewhere I have them. I may even have some of it on a hard drive here because my mom converted some of it. If I ever find that, I'll share it. But point is, why don't I have those anymore? Well, I sold them. Do you know why I sold them? If you were listening carefully and following along, you might have an inkling why I sold them. I sold them to throw money towards my first 12-string guitar, the Epiphone. So it was a growing up decision. When I was a child, I did childish things. I spoke as a child, whatever that thing says. But then, as a teenager, I said, you know what's more important to me? Playing music. That's right. Hanging out with my friend Robert, going to Stone Mountain Park, being fearless somehow, playing guitar out there in nature. I wanted that 12-string guitar. So it was worth it to me to sell my youth in the form of plastic little figurines and really cool stuff that I wish I hadn't sold. However, going through the effort, I didn't make all the money that I wanted to buy my guitar, but because I put forth the effort, I don't know, Santa or somebody came through with the rest of it, and I got my guitar. Was that a seed that grew into a tree? I would have to say yes. I had that 12-string guitar for years, and I mistreated it and left it in the trunk of my car, and it got warped and the whole thing. I loved it to death. If I hadn't had it, I probably never would have ended up with the 12-string in there. Now, is the 12-string part of that tree? No. Not, well, it's a branch because all those guitars led me to the uke, which is not sitting beside me tonight. And that is a significant musical contribution to my life. So they all are, right? Melanie, look at this. It is. I love it when this happens. I love it when names from the past come up and show themselves. Because when I tell you what, I look back at some of these old Bob Doyle shows where I was complaining about the number of viewers, and they were, I wouldn't complain now, but it's people like Melanie on there, Sarah Jane, who else, who just doesn't come out anymore. Don, you know what I'm talking about? There's just a whole group. We heard from Loretta this weekend. I hadn't heard from Loretta in a while. So it's just always wonderful to see people from the past show back up and, you know, be a part of it. And this show has had so many different... This isn't the show. That's not the right one. This. I keep talking like this is the show. It's not the show. This is just this interim thing I'm doing to stay live every day. Because I'm telling you, the other day Tracy goes, I miss going live every day. And she was talking about like her family. Her sister and her mom watched every day, and that was like a daily check-in, which is not there. So maybe this morning format that isn't morning evening format that isn't very structured, and it's not necessarily at a certain time, it's just whenever we can do it sometime in the morning, we can try it. It's not the Bob Doyle show as I am envisioning it and up leveling for, but it is a way for us to keep live and in conversation with all of you. What do you think? I'm gonna take that as a one for yes. All right, well, I certainly hope the music wasn't too obnoxious or too soft, or I don't know what it was. I never know. It's always just a big thing, but I'm sure if it was obnoxious, somebody would say, hey, turn down the music. Don would have done it for sure, maybe even Jane. All right, I'm about to push the button that is asking me to verify that I want to stop streaming. As I've shared, it's a two-step process. Oh, wait a minute. No. Hold on, I don't want to end like this. There. Okay. Now I have to do the first step again. All right, I'm going to stop this now. And that looks